Hey, it's the Chief, bonding with board games and RPGs. We're picking up the action right where we dropped off in the last episode. So, Molotov cocktail came over the wall. Did no damage. Landed in the street, burned the street. Krieg, using his command authority, shouts everybody to the gates, and they light up some citizens that are angrily out in the roadway, and they mow several of them down. A Molotov cocktail gets lit on fire, burning probably the intended thrower. Krieg puts that person down permanently, maybe out of mercy because, well, you would think out of mercy for being on fire, but then he issues basically an illegal order and tells him to gun everybody up. And he's even got a 50. There's two Humvees that roll up that are shooting into the buildings or residences around the area, kind of suppressive type style. And the only one that doesn't fire that's there is Pacheco. He holds his fire, and Krieg, again, if you've followed anything with Evil Twilight 2000, is a sadistic serial killer, and he is enjoying himself. He's a bad fella. So we're going to pick up there, and I think what we're going to do is roll in. We've had this power struggle going back and forth from Major McGiffin and Krieg, and I think the Major will take the initiative and issue the orders for his troops to get back inside the walls. So he issues this order. I want to see, I'm rolling too many for him. He actually gets a 12 and an 8. And he's got 2 successes, actually 2 8s. So he's got 2 successes. And I don't think Krieg even challenges this command. He basically had control of them as long as he wanted and got what he wanted done. And it's probably not a bad idea to get back inside the gates. So I don't even think Krieg will challenge that. We are working under, for those that maybe missed episode or 2, every 3 episodes for my bad evil character, he's going off the 48 laws of power, and he's using law 42, which is strike the shepherd, scatter the sheep, and he's trying to do power plays with his own command authority, and it worked a little bit for him here. So where would we go? What happens from here? I don't know. They come back inside the walls, secure the gate. We're using the Mythic Emulator for our yes-no questions, our Oracle. And I'm kind of curious what the general feeling is here. We already know from past threads the population of Nizhno surrounding the area, not to mention there's a guy named Bartek that is a nationalist that hates the American presence, Soviet presence, whoever's not Polish. But the citizenry's been getting angered by the activities of Krieg and this hospital base that they're running. So he's not making any friends at all. But we're not on that. We know the actions that just happened aren't going to be helpful. But what is the feeling of whoever's left in here? So we'll go to the action and subject. We have 79. 79 is intolerance. Interesting. So intolerance. All right, that could go several different ways. And 15. Ooh, the innocent. Wow. Intolerance. I think it's intolerance for the innocent. We're in brutal times. And I think What this is telling me is that the general feeling is, and not just from Krieg, who we know is a sadist, but from everybody, is you throw a Molotov cocktail over the wall, over the fence, you're going to get met with overwhelming force. Yes, okay. So the feeling from the troops present, the other folks that have witnessed this, is intolerance towards the innocent, playing right into Krieg's hands, basically. So there's no remorse from the troops involved, although Pacheco didn't engage. So we've got I don't know if we're quite at a thread, but he's definitely within his moral code of law and order, and tell the truth or at least don't lie. But the general intolerance is there. The troops don't care. You throw a Molotov cocktail over the fence, that could have killed any one of them. It could have hit their vehicles. You're going to get met with overwhelming force. Again, playing into Krieg and his strike the shepherd, because he gave the command and it's been done. So the mood is actually of who cares? That's what they deserved. So where do we go from here then? I think I want to keep the pressure on Krieg and the Major. And I think Krieg is going to be leaking a little bit of his enjoyment from this sadistic use of force. And I think it's on display a little bit. And if you remember, the Major's got his own issues. He's all military all the way. He's hiding some of he's got his own secret of repression of his personal wants, we'll call it. You can see that showed if you want to see where he's coming from. But he definitely lost control of his troops there. I think he starts barking orders to his First Sergeant Wilson. He's irritated. He takes command from his standpoint. First Sergeant Wilson, get these vehicles back to the armory. Let's get these guns down. Let's start working them out. Get the guys cleaning. Let's get these Humvees back to mechanic shop and fueled up and ready to go. I think we're going to have some more problems coming. Get on it. Get it moving. The First Sergeant's immediately on. His drivers, his gunners, the 4-person light machine gun crew that was assigned off to us. He's given them orders. The whole idea of what we were going to do in our last episode was an after-action report and work through it. That's off. They're breaking down their guns. They're cleaning everything. They're getting the vehicles all squared away. And action. The Major's giving orders, and orders are being followed. I want to push over to Pacheco, I think. Krieg's ecstatic and just wanders back into the chow hall. I think he's going to go finish his food. Pacheco wanders over to the technical where the orphans from a prior episode that were taken in, 16-year-old, 12-year-old, 10-year-old, we don't have a lot more detail on them other than we know the 16-year-old was a male, if I remember right. Yep, that's at least what I know. They're cleaning out the mess of the technical. And Pacheco is assuming ownership over this vehicle. I like it. Pacheco climbs up into the bed. Kids are cleaning, and he kind of oversees what they're doing in a fatherly type role. For those that don't remember, didn't see the episode, Pacheco is one of the contractors that was part of PIMGIM, owned by Kane & Krieg. His special operations experience was as a SWAT team member on a police force in New Hampshire. Law and order, tell the truth or at least don't lie is his moral code, and his big dream is a tactical training school. And he was hoping even when he went into contract work, he could make 4 times the money, that he would be able to return back to New Hampshire and open up his own tactical shooting school. So he takes kind of a fatherly role with these kids and points out, like, because he's got them all working. And he kind of points out you've got to work for your keep and where they're doing a good job and where some more detail could be handled. And I believe Pacheco would kind of glance over. He wants to see were there any dangers in the vehicle. When we had the excitement outside, I actually thought maybe the kids, triggered off the Russian heavy machine gun or whatever. Wasn't that? It was the Molotov cocktail. So I think Pacheco's going to go to the Russian machine gun, and he's going to render it safe. He's going to clear the belt from the gun, clear the chamber. He's going to pop the hood. He's kind of inspecting the vehicle and the main gun on the vehicle and checking serviceability. This thing got lit up. So he's actually doing a mechanical check on everything while the kids are cleaning, and he's taking a fatherly role. That's all fine. That's all good. Okay, what's the condition? We know is it damaged to a point where it has to be taken over to the the mechanic shop to get some work done on it. I actually think that's probably somewhat likely. We're at a chaos. We've dropped back down to 5. So I think it's somewhat likely that it's taken some rounds to something, whether it's a leaky gas tank or damage to the engine. 65 or, we got 14. Ooh, just above 13 would have been a hard yes. So Pacheco's got some damage to the vehicle. He's able to get it started up as the kids kind of jump into back, drives over to the mechanic shop area, and he goes in and talks to, I'm assuming we've got military personnel that were normally keeping up the Humvees, and he goes in and just is going to get them to, can you help me out with some parts? And he's going to work on that vehicle with the kids. I like this concept that he's bonding with these kids, and kind of that's how I believe we're going to bring them in, is that he is taking over kind of a caretaker role of these kids. They continue to work on the vehicle. He continues to work on parts and getting the vehicle up and running. We'll just call this basically his technical. So where do things go from here? It's going to move into full day just to cover food possibilities. We've got, I think Pacheco's going to go get some chow, sandwiches or whatever, bring them back to the kids. He's eating. The troops are breaking down their weapons, and I'm curious. I think we could do a random event out of here, or we could do one out of here. Let me try one here as if we're in camp. These cards can be a little bit different on what's going on, but I like using them. I've got the initiative cards in here. All right, we got the initiative cards out, and I'm messing up the shuffle. Let's just see if there's a random event. Now, the random events that are kind of different in here, so we'll see if it fits, is basically they've got to be in camp, and it's daylight. So we've got, I've got rabid dogs again, 3 of diamonds. Well, okay. Well, I know exactly what that is. You've got wild dogs. I'm not going to say rabid. You've got wild dogs, which happens in this city, and it's not pretty because they are dragging off what's left of the citizens by that front gate. Those that are on guard duty, so you got military working through that, not involved with the whole massacre there anyway. Not overly thrilled, but I like, hold on, that's good because that's a very negative aspect. So negative aspect is feeding basically on the massacre. And it's unsettling to the troops, but they're under orders. They're not going to waste ammo shooting dogs. Ammo's way too precious for that. There's also talk of gold. So Krieg had mentioned that he knows where the gold is in Warsaw when there was a bunch of 50s on him. Go back and watch that episode, a couple back, if you haven't. So there's a general excitement about gold and a general disgust over the murdering of civilians. There's no love lost between marauders, Russians, or anybody else that's a threat. It is recognized that there was a Molotov cocktail and some violence, but the idea of just gunning down multiple civilians is sitting uneasy with these troops on this morning detail. All right, so if the dogs are out doing that, and there's an unsettling thing what's going on, well, I think this could lead toward more attacks. Let's go 50-50 because I have no idea. We're at a chaos factor of 5, so it's literally 50-50. Are we basically going to, is this the thing that is going to lead toward some type of attack on this little base, this little fiefdom of Kane and Kriegs? 10 even. So, that is 10 is a extreme yes. Well, there we go. So this is going to lead to an attack. And I think it's got to come now. So in what form? I don't know. Let's go back to this action and subject with it being, what is the form of this attack? There's anger, and there's going to be a retaliatory attack from the citizens, maybe even from Bartek. Let's see if we can, I'm sure he would love to capitalize on that. Let's see if this gives us any type of guidance. 56 is usurp. Okay, that seems to fit. A usurper almost seems like, again, we would be back to Bartek, but let's see. And 13, usurp war. Okay. Usurp war. All right, so take a position of power or importance illegally or by force. So it's taking a position of power and bringing war. All right, so this is way bigger than what I thought. This isn't just a retaliation strike. I think what is going to happen is Bartek being angry. I think they missed their attempt to take him out. They ended up getting a technical wooey. But this massacre of the citizens has fed into Bartek's power, and he is going to, with citizen help, attempt a full attack on this base. Krieg's base with the 100 troops. Don't forget they got 2 howitzers. So that's what's going to happen. It would not happen in daylight. There's no way. This would be a night attack, and I don't even think it would happen within a day. Well, people are inflamed by these citizens being massacred. The Niesno Massacre. Okay. Would he move on it that night? I don't think so. I don't think that's enough time. All right, let's do this. I don't think the full attack would come now, but I think what would make sense would be maybe dropping a couple mortars in. I think Bartek, to gain the allegiance of the citizenry, they were throwing Molotovs. A massacre happens. I think he would be more than willing to grab a couple like 81 millimeter mortars that he probably has available and to just bloop a few of them into the base. I like it. So the full out attack is going to come. This is usurp war. He's going to bring it. But as a tie-in, and what we'll resolve here is a mortar strike. We're going to use the tens die. I want to know, well, we'll just use 1 through 10. Well, boy, that'd be, yeah, you don't just drop more than 10 in, I don't believe. That'd be quite a waste with no attack behind it. But they want a little bit of payback. Is it 1 mortar dropped or up to 10? Let's see what the dice says. 4. All right, I like that. 4 mortar rounds are going to come in. All right. Random 4 random 81 millimeter mortar rounds landing in the compound. And resolving mortar rounds. So mortar rounds, it would be like the equivalent of a heavy grenade. And I'm going to need some reference. Ah, we have mortars. 81 millimeter mortar. Damage is 6. Critical is 3. Okay. Blast size is B, and we're going to have 4 of them coming in. Range won't be a problem. Armor plus 2. All right, so I pulled out my grid. This is actually going to be perfect. The grid that I put the map on is lengthwise we're 44 squares and widthwise 34. All right, so I'm going to just do random numbers. We'll get these down and I'll figure out where they are going to go. So first, the first mortar round, second, third, fourth. Hey Siri, give me a random number between 1 and 34.
A random number between 1 and 34 is 21.
Hey Siri, give me a random number between 1 and 44.
A random number between 1 and 44 is 13.
Okay. And I'm going to do this 3 more times, but I'll save you from that. All right, so my random numbers were 21 and 13. You heard that on the first one. The next mortar round is going to land on 1 and 12. By the way, the ones, I'll show you, will be going from left to right on the top ramp. The ones. The 34 will be left to right on my short side of the paper. And then ones will start at the bottom and work towards the top. So I can't even remember how map rating went. I think it's always left to right, and maybe I can't remember if it's up or down. We'll leave that. So for the purposes of the hex grid here, left to right will be the short width of the paper, and then bottom to top will be the length. So if I'm looking at 21 and 13, what I'm going to do is put marks on this map, and then we'll see where they land. So you can see I've got the photo of the compound map up now with the dice in place. The dice show a good kind of B-sized destruction. So had it been an A explosive, it would have been just the square is what I'm going to use with this homemade map of mine. Having been a B, I'm going to do it as every square around the target, which makes the die maybe a little bit small but close. But this is a 81 millimeter mortar round coming in, and I think that fits perfectly kind of for the scale I've got here. All right, we're going to do a quick rundown. So you can see 2113 actually puts that mortar round landing inside the cafeteria. I'm going to zoom in and show you some different pictures here. possibly even doing some bleed over damage to the garage, which don't forget, that's the general area Pacheco was at with the kids. Now, was he all the way up there? The garage is pretty big, but we'll have to come back and figure that out. The second one was way over to the west-hand side. Again, we're showing a picture now. I haven't even tagged what this building would be, so I think we're going to show this building is currently unoccupied. No one's in it, but it could do some damage to the building or could catch it on fire. We then come back to the 23-2, which is just a piece of open road. Again, someone could get hit. It is inside the compound. But that brings us to the fourth one, which is 26-42, which brings us way up to the top. And that mortar round came so short, almost like they were going for maybe the guardhouse or something, that it actually lands outside the wall in the street. Now, the wall's pretty big there. We have a parking area, but, maybe it's done some damage. But you can see where that is as well. So we got an idea of what's been damaged. I think the first thing I want to do is let me deal with the ones that I don't think probably did too much damage. Let's go in reverse order and figure out possibilities of people being wounded. And I'm going to use the fate chart to kind of work this out, just because fragments flying around could still injure somebody. So let's start with the last round that landed outside the wall. I think it's probably, I'm going to say almost no way that ends up damaging somebody inside the compound. We do have a quick response force building that's close to it, however, and the garden, so it's possible somebody could be in the garden, but it would mean shrapnel had to come through the wall. But doing no way means if I get a 15 or lower on this, that somebody's injured. So we're going to figure it out. We'll see what it is. Whew! Ended up being close, but no, 17. Wow, closer than I thought. So nobody was injured, but I would say maybe some shrapnel came through the wall and definitely caused still a little bit of concern. All right, now we got to move to 35-2. Well, this is the one that's in the road. Again, I'm showing you a picture now. It's open road. We could have someone moving around there. It's not too far from the garage. So we could have something happen there, but I'm going to say very unlikely where it is. Let's just go with unlikely. I could see there being this activity again around the garage. We don't know where Pacheco is in this garage. So we need a 35 or lower. 89. 88 wouldn't have been an extreme no, but or it is an extreme no. Sorry, 88, we're above that. Extreme no. This one does no damage as well. No damage. No injury. I mean, it damages the road a little bit, but no injury. So that's 2, but we're slowly working close here because our next one is going to be the very first hex we counted, and then 12 up. So way over on the west-hand side of this map. Again, I'm going to go with unlikely here as well. I don't think there's probably too many people over there, but it is a building, so we'll see what's going on. And 37, so that is a no. We've got no on that one. And then we come to the one that actually looks like I'm pretty sure it's going to do something. The cafeteria. It's morning time. We know some of our guys went to get chow. We've got our garage repair there that it's close enough to that damage would come over. It's actually hitting a structure. So that round, could have even detonated maybe on the roof area, sending shrapnel into multiple areas. I actually think it's very likely that someone's been injured by this, and I'll even come back and check if, would it start a fire? We'll just go with injury. I don't think the mortars don't start a lot of fires generally, especially in a cafeteria. But maybe on an extreme, yes. So an 85 or lower is going to be somebody's injured. 31, so it's not in the extreme, but somebody was injured. I'm going to ask a simple yes or no question. Let's do it with the cards. Well, it's actually graded because I think Pacheco's it is not in the cafeteria. Let me go with, could this be Pacheco or the orphans? Someone's been injured in the cafeteria, but they weren't in the cafeteria. I think they've got that building between them a little bit, or at least a wall. Let's just go with unlikely that it's Pacheco and the orphans in the technical. So that's a 35, but we'll see. 83. Okay, it's not Pacheco. They're close, though, but it's somebody in the cafeteria or people in the cafeteria that are injured. So we've got military personnel in there. Some of them could be the ones that were just on the op. But we're going to do a card flip to see how bad off. So the first thing I want to see is how devastating was this round. So we're just looking for 2 through ace. Ooh, jack. That's devastating. That's an 11. So we have an 11. And then I want to see, what would I do here? All right, I want a pure number again just for the number of people that were wounded. So it could be anywhere from 1 to 14. And if it ends up being a low number, then I think that person or persons were seriously injured, maybe even killed. If it's a high number, it's just a lot of people were casualties. So let's see. So again, we're just going 2 through 14 to see how many people. Ooh, we've got a 2. That tells me that it was one person that was in a very, very unlucky spot, and they were killed. So that mortar hits and kills one of the U.S. troops that's just in the cafeteria to get something to eat for breakfast. They were maybe coming in that door, and boom, that comes through and hits them and kills them. So this mortar has had a very negative effect in that case. And I'm going to hold here because we know this is just a prelude to a bigger attack that's coming. So I don't know how that's going to go. I would think at night, but at the same time, I'm sitting here thinking, well, they have night vision, so would that be good? I don't know. I have no idea. We're going to end up leaving that for another episode. We'll leave it to the fate chart. We'll leave it maybe to the action subject to see what goes on. I have no idea, but we're going to wrap there. We've got the mortars came in, response from Bartek, the usurper of war. He's going to bring this to their house. The citizenry is upset. They're angry. We have the Nizhno massacre, as what it's also going to be called. That was the last episode. So we'll leave it there, and we've got a big battle getting ready to come. Big battle. Wow. Now, that's pretty dark. I found my book that I used to use on patrol that I would send to dispatchers, these positive quotes. Honors those who serve. To leave on at least a positive note from this fictional game, let me just randomly flip and grab a page. I've used several of these before. Check marks are by them. Let's go with Robert Schuller. Be hopeful, for tomorrow has never happened before. I like it. I'm going to keep doing that. All right, Chief, Bonding with Board Games. See ya.